Good morning, beautiful people, and thank you so much for joining us on this edition of The Brief, live on My Media Prime Television, a program where we get to dig several layers beneath the major headlines as carried by newspapers in the country. On today's edition of the program, we are focusing on the kidnap of the Fon of Bambalang, who happens to be the pioneer president of the Northwest House of Chiefs. Today he clocks 100 days in amber captivity. We shall tell you more on the demands of his captors as relayed by several newspapers in Cameroon today, and equally the election of the president of the Senate and the Speaker of the lower house of Parliament of Cameroon is about to take place in Yaoundé, as we are told. We are told that Kavayege Djibri set to be re-elected once again as the Speaker of the lower house of Parliament, as he has been heading the legislative body since 1992. Bomotonguina Gwladys is here. Let's find out what she gathered for us in the French language newspaper. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha et bon début de week-end à toi. Bonjour à vous et merci de nous retrouver une fois de plus pour Débrief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse sur My Media Prime et Télévision. Alors ce matin, nous débutons avec le journal La Nouvelle Expression qui nous parle ici de la grève des enseignants au Cameroun, le mouvement OTS qui écrit donc aux autorités camerounaises. Le journal nous révèle que la lettre a donc été adressée au président de la République du Cameroun, au président du Sénat du Cameroun, au président de l'Assemblée nationale, au délégué général de la Sûreté nationale du Cameroun, bien sûr, au ministre délégué à la présidence de la République du Cameroun chargé de la Défense, au ministre de l'Administration territoriale et de la décentralisation du Cameroun, à la directrice générale de l'UNESCO, au président de l'UNICEF, au directeur général de l'OIT, et à la Commission africaine des droits de l'homme et des peuples. Les détails sont donc en page 6 et 7 de ce journal. En page 4, le journal La Nouvelle Expression nous révèle qu'il y a des reines tribales au Cameroun, plus précisément à Membele, où les Bamounes ont été chassés. Manipulation du gouvernement, les universitaires font donc le sale boulot. Les détails sont en page 2 de ce journal. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous continuons ce matin avec l'œil du Sahel qui nous parle de la décentralisation au Cameroun, les maires qui sont donc mobilisés autour du CEVUC. Nous continuons toujours dans le même journal en page 11 et 12 qui nous parle de MTN Elite One. Les populations réagissent donc à la mise à l'écart de Garoua. Nous restons toujours avec le journal L'œil du Sahel qui nous révèle en page 7 que le chantier du centre hospitalier régional est donc à l'abandon au niveau de Maroua. Nous continuons toujours dans l'œil du Sahel qui nous parle en page 3 du mouvement OTS au Cameroun. On a trop supporté la sortie des Tundi Hingwa qui révolte donc les enseignants. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous continuons ce matin avec le journal L'économie quotidien qui nous parle de restructuration de UBC et de NFC Bank. Le FMI met donc la pression sur l'État camerounais. L'institution de Bretton Woods recommande la signature des contrats de performance à court terme avec chacune des deux banques. Les détails sont donc en page 3 de ce journal. En page 5, le journal nous parle de la zone SEMAC, une initiative Ati Jafawa, banque pour promouvoir l'entrepreneuriat féminin. Nous terminons, mesdames et messieurs, ce matin avec le journal Le Messager qui nous parle, lui, du complexe sportif d'Olembe vers un éléphant blanc. C'est ainsi qu'est intitulé le grand titre. Plombé par des dysfonctionnements, le chantier dédié à Paul Biya a été déserté par l'entreprise franco-canadienne McGill qui a pourtant perçu l'essentiel des fonds sans livrer l'infrastructure. Les détails sont donc en page 12 de ce journal. En page 9, le journal nous parle de Guy Martin Siguet et son fils, l'homme de l'espoir. Nous restons toujours dans le journal Le Messager qui nous parle en page 8 du littoral, à Douala précisément, le réconfort des commerçants. Comment est-ce que les commerçants pourront donc être réconfortés en cette période où tout a augmenté? Mesdames, Messieurs, c'est ici que nous nous arrêtons pour ces titres en langue française. Place à la découverte de ces titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Bomotonguina. Gwladys, let's kickstart this morning with the Lone English Daily, the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post is focusing on the kidnap of the Northwest House of Chiefs president, who, according to the paper, clocks 100 days in amber captivity. The paper is telling us that the president of the Northwest House of Chiefs, Fon Yakum Kevin Shomitan II, has clocked 100 days in the wild. And Fon Shomitan was last seen in public in his village of Bambalango, Kitunja Division at nightfall Tuesday, December 7, 2021. Armed men believed to be Ambazonia fighters whisked him off from his rural dwelling into the unknown. 100 days down the road and still counting, the traditional rulers' whereabouts remain mysterious, as we are told by the Guardian Post newspaper. The paper goes ahead to say, given the deafening silence over Fon Shomitan's misfortune, some are already expressing fears over the possibility of him still being alive. About 2 months ago, intense moves were reportedly done on the ground to get Fon Shomitan II out of hands of his kidnappers, the Ambazonia fighters, of course, and the process authorities, sources said to the Guardian Post, made complications. And notorious separatist fighters Clement Bashi, popularly known by his self-styled name of General No Pity, is reported to have been at the origin of the adoption. And Bashi, sources further insinuated, was the man holding the strings of the wild and setting tough conditions for the release of the traditional ruler of Bambalang people. Mbashi, who is a native of Bambalang, said to have asked for console, amongst other things, and the release of his mother in security detention. He is also he's also asking that his request that they should release some of his fighters, as well as Antoinette Console, who is the mother of his son, as well as some of the fighters that were arrested by the government of the Republic of Cameroon. We continue to talk about this other incident which happened in Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon, where a lady allegedly runs mad after abandoning longtime boyfriend. The lady in her late 20s, whose name the newspaper could not immediately get, is reported to have gone mad in Douala in the littoral region of Cameroon after failing to keep a promise she made to her longtime lover. The lady is said to have started behaving awful and later started running naked along the streets of the economic capital of Cameroon. Sources are quoted as having revealed that the lady, her and boyfriend, had been dating for a long time, and during this period the lover is said to have been paying her fees as well as providing her with feeding allowances. And the paper is telling us that the man is said to be or to have promised to marry her immediately after she graduates from a university. Things unfortunately turned sour when the lady, after completing studies, decided to abandon the lover who saw her through her academics, stating that the man was no longer in same status with her. More details in this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. We leave the Guardian Post newspaper. We're taking you to the Median newspaper to talk about a meeting which was held at the Ministry of Secondary Education in Yaoundé. After a joint press conference in Yaoundé, the Median newspaper is telling us that Professor Nalova Lyonga, who is the Minister of Secondary Education, begs teacher to trust President Paul Biya on his words when it comes to resolving the crisis or the problem of striking teachers in the country. We end this morning with the Post Weekender newspaper. The Post Weekender newspaper this morning is focusing on the meeting of Southern Cameroonian leaders who have met to resolve to work together in seeing that peace return to the two English-speaking regions of the country. And the paper is also telling us that magistrates, investigators urged to track and punish money launderers. As we are told, the meeting was held, chaired by the Minister of Finance of Cameroon, Louis Paul Motaze, who called on the magistrates and other investigator or investigating authorities to, notably talking about judicial police as well as gendarmerie officers, to go beyond in sentencing suspects of embezzlement, corruption, and other financial malpractices, and to ensure that investments from ill-gotten wealth are confiscated from these alleged embezzlers and brought to the state of Cameroon. Let's talk about security forces that have tear-gassed protesting AFCON volunteers in the nation's economic capital, Douala. Forces of law and order, according to the paper, on Wednesday, March 16, used tear gas to scare protesters away from the littoral governor's office. The protesters say they are disgruntled workers who served during the African Cup of Nations AFCON Total Energies 2021, hosted by Cameroon, but have not received payment from the authorities. It should be recalled that the littoral governor, Samuel Diodene Ivahadiboa, was the president of the local organizing committee for the littoral region of the country. Thank you for watching, televiewers of My Media Prime Television. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning, and we are welcoming a human rights activist, a human rights defender in the person of Amadu Tarnteh. Welcome, sir. You are from Conscience Africaine, and you work closely with some locals in the northwest and southwest regions to ensure that rights that are being violated, they are brought to the notice of competent authorities. Welcome once again, sir.
Yeah, good morning once more, and thank you for this opportunity. Good morning to telespectators of My Media Prime Television. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure for me to be a guest on your program.
Okay, let's begin with the Guardian Post news, but talk about this headline that has to do with the re-election or the election of the Bureau or the Speaker of the lower house of Parliament and the President of the Senate. We are told that Kavayege Jibri is set to return National Assembly crown today. It should be recalled that he's been at the helm of the legislative organ since 1992.
It's really funny. It's funny indeed, but that's the way it is. Even though when we talk of election, that if he's being elected, as you rightly said, I don't think there's a problem with that. I thought we were going to use another word to describe it. But if
formality?
Yes, if he's being elected, then there's no problem with that, because when we are what we are preaching.
But the CPDM, his party, the CPDM has a swelling majority in Parliament.
The fact that he will have a swelling majority in Parliament doesn't mean that he's only CPDM that can make it for that position. Another person could be chosen to that effect.
But would the CPDM encore l'âge pour être réélu à cette fonction, cette position?
On the moral perspective, it's true. It does not the age, his age, and that of the minister of the Senate president, including that of the presidency, is they are above. I don't even know if they still reason normally as a normal citizen, because the president on his own part might have decided that he is going to die in power with all these his collaborators. That's why they have decided that all of these people should be maintained until the end of this regime. That's what I think.
No, don't you think that it is selfishness on their part? Selfishness on the part of the president of the Senate and that of the lower house of Parliament. Don't you think it is selfishness?
No, I don't think that's the problem.
After serving the state up to this age, should they not be resting?
Actually, they should be resting.
And acting like, library for people to come seek pieces of advice from
that. Exactly what we had been expecting for them, but they has not worked as such. But I was tempted to think that they are being forced to remain there by the President of the Republic, because on several instances we have seen a case when some of them have tried to resign until, but they say no, if you try it, go terrible things. So I'm not sure they are the one that have really decided to continue suffering at that, because all of them, they deserve rest. That's why we're equally fighting for their own right. They have right to rest as well. Est-ce
que ceux qui acceptent qu'ils restent dans cette fonction-là travaillent effectivement pour le bien des Camerounais?
No. They are no longer working again. Most of all their work have been done by the secretariat. So they are just ceremonial leaders. So they are just there to represent the institution physically like that. But they are no longer productive. And we all know that.
N'est-ce pas, par exemple, une insulte pour la jeunesse camerounaise qui n'est pas peut-être à la hauteur d'arriver à briser la glace?
That is exactly what we have been saying. That the Cameroonian youths in Cameroon, the youths here in Cameroon have been abandoned by the regime in place. At least are used at the National Assembly and the Senate. They took a handle this position better. But they take all these aging people and keep them there and remain there for years, and they are not productive. They are not doing anything. That's why we have a lot of problem here in Cameroon because we are being ruled by these leaders who are no longer reasonable. When something happens, instead of looking critically at the way to resolve the problem, they keep on creating their own problem and resolving them. That's why we Cameroon remain in chaos up till today. Every day we keep hearing
au jour d'aujourd'hui, les Camerounais, les jeunes ou bien la jeunesse camerounaise doit blâmer ceux qui sont âgés à vouloir rester en position lorsque eux-mêmes n'essayent pas de se donner les moyens pour arriver là?
Non, qu'est-ce que vous voyez pour parler de moyens? Mais
on a vu quand même comment Samuel Eto'o-Fils a frayé son chemin pour arriver à la présidence de l'Afrique.
No, the first thing we have to know here is that Eto'o is first of all a very rich man. For the first, you cannot do anything here without having money. That's the first thing you should note. If you want to, as a youth, like me, if I want to become a parliamentarian, if I don't have that cash, the money to use in campaign and others, or I have somebody who is sponsoring me from the back, I will not be able to do it. So it's very obvious. There's no way you can do that without
the courage
money.
Is not there. You may have somebody to sponsor you from behind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I have
from the background, but you don't have the courage to say no.
No, we have the courage.
So many of them cannot stand.
Combien de jeunes Camerounais sont donnés pour arriver là?
No, those Cameroonians who are unable to stand on such position are only those who are not enlightened. They don't know their rights well. So if you know your rights and know that you have the right as Cameroonian, as from 21 years and above, you have the right as a Cameroonian to stand as a member of parliament.
Who can stand up in parliament and challenge Kavaye within the sake of...
Yeah, the problem is that they already have the majority there, so the voice of the...
No,
that's why the voice of the are no longer...
Within the CPDM, the sake of because sometimes when the elections are about to be held, you don't see any other candidate coming from within the CPDM.
No,
he's the only candidate.
But it's being imposed by the hierarchy. That's what I was saying. All those things are being imposed by the hierarchy. Can
somebody not get up within the CPDM party and dare Kavaye?
It's possible that it is possible, but just within them, within their central committee, it's very risky for you to do anything else. So because if you try, you know what their leaders will do to you. So most of them are afraid. They often say that you cannot bite a finger that fits you. So most of them, they know very well that they are being led by the CPD. After all, they know that most of them were not even voted at the first place to be at the
Amadu,
assembly.
let's stay with the Guardian Post newspaper to talk about the Northwest House of Chiefs President from Kevin Shomitang, who has clocked 100 days in captivity, in amber captivity. Up till now, no word from the government of the Republic, but we are reading from the Guardian Post newspaper that some background negotiations were being made by government officials, and what the popular or self-styled Ambazonian general known as No Pity is asking for 20 million ransom. He's asking that his mother be released from police detention. He's also asking for his girlfriend, who is also under custody in Boya, to be released, and some of his fighters. Do you think that the government will give in to this pressure?
Let me first of all start here by saying that it is unacceptable for the government. There's no law that provides the government should arrest the civilians, be the mother or whatsoever. They have nothing to do, because criminal responsibility is personal. It doesn't have anything to do.
No, but if they are talking,
no, even if they are talking, it doesn't have anything to do, because the mother never asked him to do whatsoever he's doing, or be any of the family never asked him to do whatever he's doing, because I don't think there's any law that provides that because civilians or armed persons should be arrested in time of war because their children are involved in war. So that's the first observation with regard to that effect. But it's really regrettable that
it's unlawful. What the government has done.
Actually, that one is unlawful. But the government might arrest those they call separatists, the separatists or his collaborators that nobody is talking about. But when it comes to arresting the mother and the sister and for the former girlfriend, all that one is completely illegal.
Do you think government is still having? It means that the fate of the fund is the fund might not make it, because now we don't know if the fighters that the No Pity is asking, they are still alive. We don't know if their mother, the mother of No Pity, is alive. Do you think?
No, it's really regrettable that it's been somebody said I have to keep this our novel fund for not always our fund, but the president of the Northwest House of Chiefs for more than 100 days without even telling us where his whereabouts. And we are praying that the government should first of all do everything to at least if there's any negotiation going on the back door, as we rightly said, the government should first of all tell Cameroon. Let us be sure, because we have seen delegates since divisional delegates were arrested on the 15th of June 2021 until now. We have nothing has been said by the government. Even that the government has abandoned even the civil servants on their own faith, because if these delegates can be arrested and detained, and the government have said virtually nothing, even till date. We have the issue of the president of Northwest House of Chiefs has been arrested. The government has not said anything. It means that the government does not care anymore about these people.
He is the highest authority, state authority in captivity as we speak now.
Yes,
you're talking about the delegates, but the phone is the highest state authority under amber captivity.
That's why I'm saying that the government has abandoned the workers. If the government actually has abandoned these workers on their own faith. Just imagine what the common civilians are go through, the common Cameroonians go through on daily basis because of these issues. I think it's the place of the government to do everything possible to make sure that they either negotiate or look for possible ways of releasing, calling for the release of this fund, because it's really regrettable that all these things will keep up. The other day, about 2 days ago, I learned that the president of the Hassarwe House of Chiefs made a statement calling on teachers to go back to class. It's really regrettable because more than 100 days that after the arrest of the kidnap of his colleague, he has never mentioned any statement where he come out to tell teachers to go out. I don't know whether he has any capacity. He's supposed to have any capacity or any power to make such a statement.
Okay, and equally, we are told that teachers were tear gassed in Douala. They are not teachers, volunteers who worked for AFCON competition in Douala. They were tear gassed by security officers. That they came protesting that they wanted their monies. They were supposed to be paid. Up to today, they have not been paid. So, what is really happening that at every sector there must be a strike action before what is duly, what belongs to Cameroonian be given to them, what they have actually labored for be given to them.
we have. I keep on saying that.
Does it mean that the money is not there? Did they not make the account? Were they not? The budget was not well calculated. Or why are they owing those guys?
I keep saying that we have terrible leadership at the helm of this country. It's really regrettable because sometimes you see some of these deals of governors claiming that the ministers, the directors have stolen money, that they cannot embezzle money, they are the one that are sent. But just because they don't have that opportunity, this is just a slight opportunity that has been given. But you see what has happened. It's regrettable. People go working day and night to ensure that ensure the security of Cameroonians and foreigners who are here in Cameroon to participate for the AFCON. And at the end, they are not able to receive what the money that was promised to them by the regime.
Qui s'assoit sur cet argent actuellement?
No, even the problem is
for littoral region, the person that should be held responsible is Dieudonné Ivahadibois, because he was the president of the local organizing committee for littoral region, the polls in littoral region.
And that's exactly the reason why he called his defense forces, security and defense forces yesterday to come and chase people away.
No, did he actually
No, where did they come from? He can only call from his office. He can only call from his office to tell, because if he was at least he ought to have welcome them and tell them if there's anything, if you have anything to say, at least try to dialogue with people, tell them that even if the money is not yet ready, he should tell them that the money is not yet ready. At least they should be patient for just give
if he was not giving the money, or maybe he has been explaining and they are not listening to him.
No, he has never explained. I think I saw another post. Some people were saying that these striking guys were at the Fecafoot office and they were informed that the money has been dispatched to Douala already. If the money has been dispatched to Douala, it means that it should be the government should be the one that's supposed to at least host these people and tell them exactly what is happening. If the money has not been dispatched as claimed by Fecafoot, at least the governor should tell them where the whereabouts of the money and tell them how long they should continue waiting. Because in anything that has to do with money here in Cameroon, I'll keep on hearing problems because our leaders are all looking for opportunity to steal money. That's the highest thing our leaders here are
talking about strike action. Professor Pauline Alova Leonga begged teachers to go back to the classroom, and he said President Paul Biya, they should give President Paul Biya enough time to act on his words or the decision that he took recently regarding teachers. He said, teachers, please go back to the classroom, don't go to the streets.
This is another very challenging one here in Cameroon. We know that the first problem here in Cameroon is that sometimes when we have problem in Cameroon, that's why we have a lot of problem in federal all the sector, but when we have problem here in Cameroon and people come out with their grievances asking for the solution to the problem to resolve, our government do everything possible to make sure that they divert the attention of people from the real issues. They go and begin to create their own problems and give solutions without looking critically into the ones that were being asked from them, because that's the same thing that happened at the beginning of the Anglophone crisis and led us to where we are today. The people came out with their grievances and tabled their grievances and said, this is our problem, this is our problem. Instead of government looking into the problem to solve them, they went ahead creating problems that are not even related to the claims of the teachers or the claims of the lawyers, and that's how it keep on radicalizing, keep making things very complicated. If you look critically to what the communication person, the Minister of Communication, and the other people have been talking with regard to the problem raised by teachers, or even the Minister of Labour and Social Security. I even saw another minister, Minister Atanganji, went on to start intimidating these teachers and others.
But
that man should know very well that
there's a video that emerged from the West region where a civil administrator, the SDO, I don't know the locality, the SDO was insulting teachers. I don't know if you watched the video.
And yes, because he's the SDO or whatsoever, he's protected by the regime. I will keep on telling them that it's only President Paul Biya that will address this issue, because we are in an autocratic regime where the final say always come from the president. These ministers and delegates, governors, and that are holding meetings, that are not wasting their time. The way to President Paul Biya should he too people should come out and tell this, address these teachers properly, look into their problems.
Why would a civil administrator go about insulting teachers? I watched the video where we are still investigating.
You quite remember
to get
that
the name of that SDO in the West region.
No, that was something very normal. Now we know the very, because know that our DOs, our administrators, and the security and defense forces keep behaving like colonial master. That's the normal thing for with the current regime here. You can't do anything. Like, if they go ahead beating the population, they have nothing to do. Nobody can do anything to him. We have seen a lot of things as such. This is why it's no longer strange to us. At least that's why we keep calling on the government to call these people to order. At least they should respect the citizens they stand to represent them.
Finalement, le prix du pain s'est augmenté et c'est officiel. Donc, définitivement, c'est le Camerounais lambda qui paye les frais encore.
I had picture of it yesterday.
That's the nature of Cameroon, because everything keeps skyrocketing. The price of everything keeps skyrocketing in Cameroon on daily basis. We keep hearing that this is what I've moved from this to this, but they say that there's a problem, there's economic crisis, this problem, this is. No, but I don't know what this problem is.
I remember there's a report that was done by our colleague of an international media, Regina Sondo, and the Minister of Communication of Cameroon and other top government officials came out to say she was lying, that the prices of basic commodities were not going to skyrocket.
No, okay. You know that our government is very good in deceiving people, in lies telling. We are the one facing the reality. We know we buy this bread on daily basis, and we know what is happening. And it's true that the price of these things have increased, and like any other basic commodities in Cameroon, the prices have really increased. And the minister goes to lie.
Le Cameroun s'enfonce. Qu'est-ce qu'il faudrait faire pour sortir
de
ce
way forward? 1 minute.
No, we keep saying that the way out of this problem is for us to clean all the current regime, because the leadership of this country is a complete mess. These people should give way for the youth, for the younger generation to come out and do everything possible for their own.
In the same system? The same system?
No, that's why I'm saying that we have to clean this the current leadership of the country and give space to the younger generation for them to at least show their own competence.
Okay. Amadu, Tarnteh, thank you so much for coming, and thank you to televiewers of My Media Prime Television for watching the very last edition of the program for the week, which was of course produced for us by Christain, Tebong. We were Bomotonguina, Gwladys, and myself, Lasha Kingsley. Have a great weekend. Monday is another day. Bye-bye.